Maybe I can return the question. So, are there people that who do you admire? He was asking me about people that I admire because he said that people who are here who don't look like the ancient people of here cannot identify, and I disputed that because I don't identify, I value, I appreciate humans that I appreciate. It doesn't matter what they look like or where they come from. I think that's a more evolved way of thinking, at the least.
A lot of people don't think like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, they don't, unfortunately.
Immigrants as well. I think that's what you're trying to say, wasn't it? Immigrants can't easily identify with Winston Churchill or someone like that.
Well, possibly not.
His mother was American, I believe.
Possibly not.
Interesting.
Possibly not. But I mean,
I wish everyone felt like you, bro. I wish.
If we're going to go on some path, hopefully it's towards advancement, right? And usually it's doing the hard things that let us grow. So maybe it's not easy, but it's worth doing. So that's
I agree.
How is Malcolm X worlds apart from Nelson Mandela? You don't mind asking that?
Well, I mean, what we differentiated is the periods of Malcolm X's life. In the last, I think 3 or 4 months, he was similar to Nelson Mandela, democratically trying to advance the position of his people in society. However, the vast majority of his life, he was worlds apart. He didn't believe in working with white people. He was racist towards white people. I mean, look, Mandela came up in apartheid, you get me, and he still eventually allowed white people to work with him in government. It didn't help shit. The country got fucked up even worse under Mandela, which is unfortunate.
So was it really only that? Sorry, but
yeah. After he came back, like he said, after he did his pilgrimage,
post Hajj, and he was killed shortly after.
And remember, he was expelled from Nation of Islam. That's another reason. If he weren't expelled, he may not have even felt like that. You better thank Elijah Muhammad for kicking Malcolm X out.
No, I don't know if it's exactly like that. I thought it was that he started to see
he got kicked out before he did his pilgrimage because he said that the murder of JFK was the chickens coming home to roost. Elijah Muhammad expelled him, then they started to distance, and then he went on his pilgrimage.
Okay, maybe that's the
part. I mean,
In any case, the end result
I'm
is
not
what
trying
I
to
like.
because I like the way you speak. I'm not trying to come through like
no problem.
like vex and shit.
No.
And I don't want to just come to argue, but I think a lot of things are misunderstood or not even known about Malcolm.
Maybe I can return the question. So, are there people that who do you admire?
A number of people. I mean, I used to like Malcolm. I read his book. You know what I'm saying? Until you realise that a lot of the reason people like the book is because it's sort of like a venture into the Harlem jungle, and people like the fetishism of crime that he describes.
Oh yeah.
That's the appeal of most of the book. Remember, the book was, written in his final days. It doesn't really go into the final days that much, which is where the value of Malcolm X really lies.
So why do you?
Sorry, what do you ask?
I'm asking you because I answered the question for this guy about people that I admire and respect. So I'm asking you. You give me some examples of people you admire and respect.
So many people. I don't know. You have to narrow it down a bit. I mean, there's so many people on Earth.
Let's run through. What about Martin Luther King?
Yeah, I think he's a good dude.
Is he glamorized more or publicized more than Malcolm X because he's a cuddly figure that never picked up a stick? Peace and love.
I don't know. In some circles,
there's no Malcolm X Day. There's an MLK Day.
Yeah, but there's Malcolm X Boulevard in Harlem. So,
but that's the people have done that themselves. That a state hasn't. I'm wondering, did the state elevate the peaceful resistance?
If you rename a large avenue in uptown Manhattan after Malcolm X, it's not a minor move.
Okay.
In any case, but I think you're right. I mean, MLK Day is a thing.
Yeah.
I think MLK is certainly more revered by less revolutionary types. Malcolm X is often like praised by radicals and stuff like that.
It could be revolutionary in a different way. There's a spiritual type of revolution. Because it's like the type of going against force with complete pacifism. It can be looked at as extreme courage. It might be the higher form of courage, but it doesn't work maybe it doesn't work temperamentally with all people, and that's why maybe more people identified with Malcolm X and his approach, and some people identified with Martin Luther King.
Yeah, because probably the reason.
Do you think there's more new shootings coming, like these white shootings, like yesterday in the States?
I don't understand.
That was very.
Yesterday there was a guy who started shooting Hispanics because he thinks Hispanics are going to be taken over.
Oh right, I see.
In El Paso, yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, the unfortunate case of humanity is quite a lot of people are unhinged. And then never mind.
Do you don't think he's basically come out with the same manifesto as the New Zealand shooters guy? He's saying that, like, you know, that the white people have to stand up and fight, otherwise we're going to get
on the internet too much.
That's what he said.
Well, yeah, these things unfortunately happen, and mass murder is a feature of human history.
But
It's probably the
you don't
feature.
think that's going to?
I think it's increasing.
You think that's going to increase?
Definitely
Yeah.
increasing.
They said 250 this year in America.
Wow.
That's almost one every day.
That's
Right.
unreal.
So something
But I don't
should
think
be
all of
done,
them are
shouldn't
racist.
it?
They're not all racist.
What's more important in a country, the number of mass shootings or the murder rate?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you thought that was going to increase or not. I mean, if there was going to be a movement of, because it seems like Trump is like the last gasp.
It feels like it does, but the majority of gun murders, I think, are in the inner cities and are gang related, but they're not included in the statistics for a mass shooting because it's a different matter. But the problem is how many people are killing each other. I would have thought.
Well, there's a large murder rate in the US.
And America has a uniquely high murder rate for a first world,
nation.
for a developed nation, yeah. But if you compare it to third world countries in the region, like Brazil, well, you could call that.
Brazil's pretty messed up, yeah, from what I hear.
A much higher
El Salvador,
murder rate, yeah.
which is
almost
just
world.
men are in gangs.
Trust me,
Brazil is
you
like
don't want to
the
go to El
alt-right
Salvador, bro.
Brazil is like the alt-right that Trump could only dream of.
That's right, they just elected an alt-right reactionary.
Well, it won't last for long. I mean,
Say we, are you Brazilian?
Brazil, that's a they, not we.
you have to remember Brazil was ruled by a leftist for the last 20 years. So this is completely new. It's not like, I don't know, that could be just like a flicker in their democracy. Yeah, exactly. About 30 years
Well,
ago.
reaction.
They're a young democracy, definitely.
Well, look, something that William sent me earlier on that will bring him back in. Who's the psychiatrist?
Oh, is it Ian McGilchrist?
Yeah,
Aye,
he was saying,
fascinating guy.
yeah, that for example, if the government want to bring in a new law or a new policy, half of them should try to research and argue the argument against it.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
should learn to argue
Steelman.
you should argue the toss on every matter so you can see it.
Look
from
at it as
another-
many different perspectives
Yeah, many
as
different
possible.
perspectives. And look, politics swings from left to right. You said Brazil has had the left wing for a long time. It will swing to the right for a while. Is that a change, or is it just it's a different end of the spectrum?
They imprisoned the previous guy, didn't they?
Well, that's true. Yeah. That's not.
Well, South American leaders are rife with corruption on the left and the right. Happening in Argentina, the current mayor is actually being investigated for
I think they
corruption.
believe they have to kill each other as well. I mean, I know left-wing people in Brazil that say, yeah, they're our enemies, we have to kill them. They're very clear, and it has been for a long time, hasn't it? Because Nixon and them fund one side, the Russians fund the other side, they arm them back and forth.
Well, do you mind if I ask you a few personal-ish questions?
Maybe.
Sort of like, do you have a religion? Do you have a politics?
Oh, I got politics.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't have a
Do you-
religion.
okay, no, that's fine. Nor do I. And you don't have to
But
say
politics
if you
changes
don't.
all the time. I mean, what you say now might be so different from a year because you've learned something else or because you had a different experience. You know?
Hopefully. Most people stay
Thank
stagnant.
you. I was trying to say, hopefully you.
No.
But that's the good thing about Malcolm X and I think Nelson Mandela, right? Nelson Mandela, he used violence, but at the end of it, he said we need compassion now and forgiveness.
Reconciliation.
It's a reconciliation. And he said, I'm not.
27 years in prison will do this.
Well, okay. But he did say he's not perfect.
I'm not sure about that.
He got saved by Islam.
Maybe he
That was
did.
cynical. Sorry.
Maybe he did.
I haven't read the book.
He went to Mecca and he saw that. Like,
Definitely turn you towards
Mandela,
nature.
that's Malcolm X. Yeah. Malcolm X, yeah. So I think it is good to be fluid. And I know William says do away with labels. I'm on the verge of doing away with all that. As soon as I hit you with those questions of have you got a religion, have you got a politics, it's like I'm trying to put you in a box.
But a lot of people would be happy to answer those questions.
Yeah, I know.
For me, I just feel like it's
identity.
Yeah.
and it's often asked so people can try to understand you, and they'll then project their understanding. Oh, he's a Christian, so he means this. Or, oh, that's his mix, so he must be. I get that all the time, bro. I am a blank canvas for people to project their ideologies onto. And that's one, you know, I don't want to go back to race, but white people benefit in some way, black people benefit in some way. I mean, it works against them as well, but you are you. I mean, people might come to you with this idea of white people, which is a good one or a bad one. People who don't, if someone doesn't know where you're from, you don't get any of that. You get a complete projection of whatever that person is. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I'm a bit more hesitant to answer these things.
No, I get it.
You're not like that.
No, it's fine. Anything you don't answer, just say no or no comment. I'm not going to be offended, by the way. It's not a problem at all. You said it surprised you that William said things as a white man. What is it?
Is that William?
Yeah,
sorry. I
yeah.
thought you meant the Prince. Yeah.
What is it that makes William a white man? Because he said, I don't identify as such.
I think I don't know. I think
Is it because he's just someone who can pass as white?
yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he is white, but if you want to go down to the basis of passing, he definitely passes.
He would pass as
He wouldn't pass for anything else. He could possibly pass for like a Turkish man.
Are Turkish people
Though
white?
people would probably challenge you on it.
Yeah, well, if you want to get a bit deeper, if you want to look at the origins of conflict, at least in some sense of the origin of conflict, it's usually in arbitrary distinctions.
I agree.
Arbitrary distinctions based on stereotypes. That is what we do instinctively. It's an instinctive drive. I understand it, but I also know that it is a massive driver of huge problems and unnecessary suffering, unnecessary conflict.
Is that not usually because of economic reasons?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. I think when we look at people, we have a preconception. This is based on survival strategy. It's not something you're entirely conscious of.
But when economic situations get worse, it's easy for a dog whistle person to say, blame them, isn't it?
It is. When people are having harder times, it might be easier to stoke them up to fight about bullshit. It's true. But in any case, talk about the origin of conflict. So this is why part of the reason why I'm rejecting all labels in terms of, like I say, arbitrary links. When I look at you, I don't think, well, this guy is like kind of brown and has a black hair. Like I want to know what you think, man. I come here only to know what people think and to try and discuss new ideas. I think it's quite rare. And that's why I want to do it as much as I can.
I'm with you, bro.
Good. I'm glad to hear.
However,
Caveat time.
there's an Olympic but.
That's unfortunate.
The thing is, I mean, you know, this is very idealistic, and that's not an
It's how I live, though.
yes, on an individual basis. True, but we are all in constant discussion with our democratic culture, society, and state, and you must, in that constant discussion, ongoing discussion about who is what, why people do this, etc., trying to understand our society, you must take into account how most people don't think like that.
Of course I do. Yeah.
That's the thing.